Am I the I told him I would never again bake him something. My husband is lactose intolerant, but he likes banana cake. For his birthday, I baked a 2-layer banana cake and made the recipe of a vegan frosting and a vegan toffee sauce that was really good. When we were going to sing the usual happy birthday song, he stood up and was walking over the cake table while I was saying that I had baked a banana cake for him with vegan frosting and sauce. His answer, in front of everyone, was that he didn't know why I had baked him some cake if I already knew he didn't like them because he has not eaten in so many years that he doesn't even like it anymore. I felt hurt and didn't say a thing there. I thought that he would appreciate me baking a cake for his birthday because that's what his mom used to do when he was a kid, and he always makes a comment about me not baking the kids' cakes. Every time I go to the local bakery, I get him a banana cake and he eats it and says how much he likes it. The rest of the celebration, I was trying to act normal, but he noticed, and when everyone left, he asked if I was okay. I said I was never going to bake him something. His answer was, "Thank you," and that I was being unfair with him because I should have already known. Worst of all of this was that my birthday is the same day as his. So I baked another cake for me because I wanted a chocolate cake, but this is just venting. Am I the Cruise ship terror. Day 1 of a 7-day cruise, and everyone is boarding and trying to get their bearings and general orientation of the ship. My wife and I asked for directions to our cabin so we could drop off the few small bags we carried on with us. As the crew member who was stationed near the lobby area of the elevators gave us directions, another guest and his wife overheard as they passed by, and I then heard the gentleman say to his wife, "How stupid do you have to be to not understand that if your cabin number starts with a 7 it means your cabin is on deck 7. I let that one go. We all waited for the next available elevator, and when it arrived a few people hopped on, including the asshat that mumbled about us being stupid for inquiring about the location of our cabin. As my wife and I gathered our bags to join them, I asked for someone to hold the doors but was greeted by the same voice declaring "sucks to be you," and watched as he purposely reached for the elevator floor buttons encouraging the doors to close in our faces. Taking the next elevator, we made it to our cabin and dropped off our bags and got acquainted with our room. I noticed how simple the remote control to the generic flat-screen television was. Very basic, and for some reason that struck me as interesting for such a luxurious ship. We left the room and went up to Lido deck for a quick lunchtime buffet. It was there that I saw Mr. Asshat, without him seeing me. I kept an eye on him with the purpose of simply being able to avoid him, but then I decided that I would really like to know where their cabin was. I didn't know at the time why, I just concluded that that information would probably be good to have. So I excused myself from my wife and followed them undetected until I discovered the location of their cabin. Thankfully that did not take long, because that was their next stop. They were one floor below our floor and nearly in the same position, but on the opposite side of the ship. After that I was relieved that we would probably not have very many more encounters with them and quickly rejoined my wife. My wife and I spend a lot of time in casinos, and this trip was going to be no different, so, after dinner that night, we freshened up for a long night gambling that would most likely not end until about 3 or 4 in the morning. While waiting for my wife to get ready, I began examining that remote control again, and I deduced that those overly simple TV remotes were probably the same in every cabin, and as such, the remotes would probably work on any TV on the ship if they were brought close enough. I put the remote control in my pocket and we went to the casino. At approximately 3:30 in the morning that night, I tested my theory. I visited the door of Asshat's cabin and pressed the remote control against it and hit the power button. To my delight, the television sprung to life inside their cabin and I could see the blinding light of it from under their door. The volume buttons worked just as effectively as the power button, and the volume on their TV reached maximum level in a quick second. I listened as startled people jumped from their bed and scrambled to find their own remote to shut down the disturbance. It was my pure bliss for 7 straight nights to shock them from their slumber, with no one the wiser, because why would they ever suspect it was caused by anything outside their cabin? Customer came in demanding I break the rules for her. I'm an overnight cashier at a gas station. Pretty chill most nights. There's a few bad apples, as always, but nothing too bad. Every now and then, I'll get an entitled customer that demands I sell them beer without an ID, against state law. Wouldn't dream of it, or sell them cigarettes, despite being 20. Sorry kids, not happening. One lady though, she really got under my skin. Happened a while back. She comes in around 11:30, so well past time we shut down lottery. We turn off the machine at 10 as per our store regulations. There's a ton of updates the machine undergoes nightly, and it takes 6 to 7 hours. I keep an eye on her, and notice she has one of the ball draw style lotto cards in her hand. I call out and explain that our machine is off for the night, so I cannot sell her the tickets. She scoffs loudly, and says I'm lying and don't want to do my job. I reiterate that the machine is already undergoing maintenance, so she will have to return at 5 a.m. when the machine is ready for service. She throws the ticket on the ground, and stomps to the beer. I'm already annoyed, and in my head, I know I'll make sure my coworker takes care of her next time. I don't want to deal with this drama. She comes back to the counter, beer cans in tow, and slams them onto the counter. I grab one to scan, and ask for her ID. Lady, once again, scoffs and asks if it's really necessary. She has wrinkles older than me. I explain that it's store policy and state law to see ID for alcohol purchases. We go back and forth for 5 minutes. It only ends when I tell her she can either give me the ID so I can do my job, or she can leave beerless and lottoless. She passes me her ID, face bright red. And the lady just starts going off at this point, saying I need to lose my job. My manager, whom she called by name, would be so upset to hear how I'm treating a regular. I write my name, my manager's free time for the next day, and tell her she is free to come in and complain about me doing my job. It'll go absolutely great for her. She snatches the paper and starts asking me to sell her cigarettes. I tell her I'm not selling her anything else, as she has repeatedly made me uncomfortable and I have the right to refuse service to anyone for any reason. She leaves screaming that she's going to come back and kick my ass. I leave a long text to my managers in the group chat explaining what happened, along with a description of her. Couple hours later, some of my regulars come in for their nightly coffees. 2 of the local sheriffs. I give them the rundown of what transpired, and one of them promises to swing through a few times for a few nights to make sure she's not causing trouble. Here's where I get petty. She had parked at the front of the store. I had perfect view of her license plates, so I took note and waited. Lady shows up 2 nights later and parks by the dumpster. She's standing on the sidewalk for 2 hours waiting for me to come outside. About an hour in, I call the tow service our store uses. I say there's a broken down car in our parking lot in prime parking position. As per rules. Cops come through, as they always do, for coffee, and they ask me if she's the customer harassing me. I confirm it. They go out and talk to her. At this point, the tow truck pulls in. Lady starts walking away from the cops to talk to the driver, confused and pissed. I didn't get to hear much of the encounter, but I watched as she got arrested, put in the back of the patrol car, and they waited for the tow truck to finish hauling off her car before leaving. No idea what happened to her. She hadn't come back in, and I didn't get in trouble with management.